does in the case, right? So we're partners with the Institute. We've known you for a long time.
Yes.
And many of our Institute members have reached out to you and had very successful transactions with you. So kind of starting with that moment of meeting, you know, what happens? So I'm a luxury agent. I call you. What happens? What criteria are you looking for? What does that process look like?
Sure. We had a recent agent do that not too long ago from the Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So she had her own property. She was partners with her father, and she was looking to, they had the property on the market for a year, very little activity. So she had heard about our firm, and then she researched every single auction firm in our industry. She talked to everybody, and she called the Institute. She called other agents that we worked with that was part of the Institute. This was in North Dallas, an area called Frisco. And we had an initial phone call. Obviously, for our criteria, we have to have a motivated seller that wants to sell and that's realistic in their price expectations. That's why we work on a range of value. If they don't want to sell in that range, we'll pass and sell something else. And then once we've gone through the process, then my next step, as I did with Lisa Bloskis, our Institute member, I got on a plane to go and view the property. Either myself or Jennie always previews every property before we take it on. That's kind of the last step. And then our sellers, we sit down with them, we reiterate what we talked about, make sure there's not any questions because we don't want to have any surprises for them through the process. And then we book the date. And then we move forward with an agreement with them. And then the whole process lasts about 45 days. And we show in Lisa's particular case, we had over 300 people come through a property that was in a gated community that saw a handful of people in a year, which kind of sounds fantastical, but it happens on a regular basis for the most part. And then from that point on, about 50% of our properties sell before the auction. So that's not uncommon. Sometimes people don't like to mess with an auction, or they just don't want to take a risk of losing it on auction day. So we had, I believe, 6 different offers on her property prior to the auction. And then we created a bid war prior to the auction, back and forth with the different bidders. And then it ended just on the upper side of the range that we said it would sell in. So happy agent, happy seller. And that's what we're shooting for with every single auction.
So I'm gonna unpack a lot of what you just said, because you said a lot. So we're gonna rewind and talk about 2 things. The first one is, Jennie, I'm gonna come back to you and talk about this idea of how the heck did you get 300 people in there, okay? But you talk about a motivated seller, and there's the real estate professional, the listing agent, if you will, is a little bit hamstrung in this process, aren't they?
They are.
And they're hamstrung because everybody says they're motivated, okay? And then you're able to ferret out the folks who really are motivated because of the process, right?
Correct. And you also always have to be willing to walk out the door. And that's what many real estate agents are, because their model is different, are not willing to do. And also sometimes they just don't listen to the listing agent. We've had that many times. Hearing it from a third party sometimes is much easier. Someone that has nothing vested, nothing to gain by not just telling them the truth. Because if you're not on the same path at the very beginning, auction day will be no fun for anybody. So we pride ourselves, and we don't move forward with a lot of people because of that. But we support the agent and their knowledge of the market and what needs to be done. And if they don't listen to the agent, then we simply will not move forward if it's things that they should do, staging the property, taking care of it, painting, whatever.